everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
And today we're taking a look at this beautifully illustrated game. 3 chapters. Actually, it is very nicely illustrated, but the cover does not make me want to buy this game. For that matter, I'm not sure even the name makes me want to buy it. Because it's confusing. Is the game a 3-chapter game? And yes, according to the rules, the game has 3 phases, and they call those chapters. And it's about fairy tales, and they're working together or something like that. There's no theme in this game that much, although, we'll get to that in a bit. You know what? Let me just show you how to play it, and we'll be back. In this game, players are collecting these beautiful gems here. The green ones, 2 of them, is worth a point. The pink ones are worth 1 point. And the stars are worth 2. So how do you go about getting those? That's with this deck of cards here. So this deck of cards, which has cards numbered from 1 to 50, are different characters from fairy tales. Some of them have symbols, like the Snow Queen has both like a princess symbol, a royalty symbol, and a magic symbol on them. And you're going to shuffle these up and deal a certain number to each player, depending on the number of players in the game. So let's say it's a 4-player game. Each player would get 7 cards. You're then going to pick one of these cards and keep it and pass the rest around. And you're going to keep going until everyone has 7 cards. So after everyone's done drafting, then one person's going to play a card in front of them, and each other player will follow suit playing these different cards. Now, when you play the cards, whoever plays the highest number, in this case it's the wizard, is going to get a star. So that's 2 points right off the bat. But then you're also going to compare what else it might say here. So this wizard will also get a green gem for each of these symbols. Well, he's the only one who played that symbol, so he gets a green gem. Hansel gets a heart if he's with Gretel, and if he's with the witch, he'll get a green symbol. Well, neither of them showed up. Jack here would get 5 of these greens if with the giant, and the princess here would get a green gem, a pink heart, and a star if with the dragon. Well, none of that happened, so the only person to get anything out of this is the player who played the wizard. That person will lead the next cards, and each person will take the cards that they played and put them in front of themselves. So the first chapter is drafting in the game. The second chapter is playing the cards, like I just said. The third chapter, you then put all the cards that you have played in front of you, and you're going to score the bottoms of them again. So here I have both Tweedledee and Tweedledum, so I get a heart for both of that. The Fairy Godmother gives a heart for each crown. I got none of those, so she was not worth it. The Greedy Dwarf gives me a gem and says if I have the most gems, I get a star. The Head Dwarf gives me a gem for each dwarf symbol, so there's 2 of those, so he gets 2. The Giant gives nothing. And then Jack, if he's with the Giant, gives 5 gems. Now, so every card is going to do something twice, once when you play it in Chapter 2 and once in Chapter 3, unless it says otherwise. For example, the Greedy Dwarf here, this bottom section only happens in the 3rd chapter. Or something like this vampire here, if you win the trick, you get a heart. But most everything, Humpty Dumpty giving you a gem for every card worth 41 to 50, will happen both in Chapter 2 and 3. Some happen only in 3 and some only in 2, but for the most part, you'll get to use the special ability on each card twice. You then add up your points, like I mentioned, and whoever has the most is the winner. Okay, so I mentioned no theme, but there is a fairy tale theme. And I'll tell you, the one thing I do love about, I think the art is great on these cards. I love it a lot. I love that the theme is helpful in knowing who goes with who. I never have to know who Little Red Riding Hood goes with. She goes with the wolf. I know that Tweedledum and Tweedledee go together. And so does 95% of everybody. If you know fairy tales at all, you know who goes with what, and that helps a lot.
It does help a lot, and it's necessary because there's already a fair amount of memory that's involved in this game, because although you know the cards for the most part because you're drafting the cards, you still have to kind of remember, say, oh, did I see that? Was that something I passed? And so having those kind of thematic connections between the characters is very, very helpful.
Not every card's going to be in every game, so you need to keep that in mind. And you will. The game plays differently with different numbers of players, but the one thing that plays more differently than others, and I played it at various player counts, is that the more players, the more interesting the second phase is, and it's harder to have a good third phase. And I think that's actually, I'm not saying that's a knock against the game, but if you want to play Jack and the Giant at the same time, in a 3-player game, you just are hoping you're last and whoever's first plays the Giant, which is not going to happen very often since I believe the Giant is 50, and they're going to use that to trump a trick probably when they're last. But in a 6-player game, it's going to be a much easier thing to pull that off. That being said, in a smaller player game, you have a chance of getting them in your tableau at the end more easily than not.
Yeah, you brought up something I was going to mention is just that, the player counts have different feels for the most part. The 2-player game, you've got these 2 ghost decks you're playing with, and so that's a different feeling game than in the upper player counts. And like you said, it's going to probably play into really how you approach the game. Are you trying to get the cards that you're going to score during Chapter 3, or are you going to try to win more tricks? And I'm going to put tricks in quotes as well in Chapter 2. And the reason why I put tricks in quotes is that they use the terminology trick in the instruction book. And I guess technically you can call it a trick-taking game, but honestly, this does not feel like a trick-taking game to me at all. It's more of like a variation of war in the way you get the cards. It's basically whoever plays the highest valued card is going to get some points, and then everyone takes their cards back. So I don't really think this is a trick-taking game, even though they use some of that terminology.
Yeah, It's in the category of games that I'm going to play this with people all the time who've never played before. But teaching it, while it's a simple game, I'll be like, you know what? We're just going to play it. I'll explain a few of the rules so that you understand it. We'll play it because it's a really fast game. And after you play it once, you understand, because the 2 different chapters and the fact that cards score twice, most cards score twice or have their special ability go off twice, is unique to this game. I've not seen it in a game before that does it that way, but for some reason I found that people have a hard time grokking it until they've seen it in play.
I definitely did. I definitely struggled and needed that first game to be like, oh, I see. Okay, so, when you're drafting cards, you can guarantee that you're going to get some points in Chapter 3 because you could draft 2 cards that go together, but then you know that you're giving that up in Chapter 2. So, it's an interesting kind of a dynamic on how that works out.
It's not a very big game. It plays very quickly. The box says 30 minutes, but honestly, once you know what you're doing, this is a 20-minute game. It is a fast little filler that I feel, despite this very boring cover that they're trying to not sell the game with, I feel that the theme is universal. Fairy tales work with almost everybody. And the drafting, people tend to like drafting, and I think it fits in that category of fun. I've played with some people who don't like it a lot, but I really enjoy it. And I love the thrill, even though Mike said, you can take Tweedledee and Tweedledum and get points at the end, but I love the thrill of watching 3 people play princesses and now I'm playing the witch or something and getting a lot of points. That's just very satisfying, but you're also gambling more when you do that.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really gone into final thoughts, but I have a sense based on what you're saying that I'm one of those people you played it with that probably doesn't like it quite as much as you. So do you want to go into final thoughts? Okay, so it's not a bad game. I'm giving it a 6. I'm going to be rating it a 6. And I think it's because there's a couple of things that you mentioned that to me felt like detriments to the game. Number one is how many of the cards are not in the game, especially at lower player counts. And it's a significant amount of cards that you don't see at certain player counts. And to me, that's a bit of a failing in a game where you're looking for those kind of combos. You might be looking for combos that just don't exist. And so I don't love that. I also feel like it's a game where the whole is lesser than the parts. It's usually the other way around. Like, I really like drafting games. And I like games where you can combo cards off of each other. And I like games where you have cards with special powers. But for one reason or another, those combinations in this one game don't quite work for me because I think the game is a little too slight. It's too fast, in my opinion, and you don't see enough cards. And so while I think it's going to be very popular with a lot of people, and I understand why you like it, Tom, I don't hate it. You know, it's a 6. Just not something I'm quite there to recommend, but it's so fast and it's so light that I'd certainly play it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to take it off the shelf and approach people with it.
And I completely understand and respect Mike's incorrect opinions. No, I actually, I mean, I get it. But for me, the more I thought about this, I know that it's slight. I know that it's small. And for me, that's on the positive side. It's been a while since I played a little short game like this that I enjoyed so much. And like, I have many of the cards memorized already. I've played it enough to do that. And I think this is one of those games I would keep in my pocket. This box is too big, frankly. Oh, you know, you just need the tokens and the cards. But for me, it squeaks across 8.5. It's just, I think it's one of the best small games I've played in a long time. But if I taught it to you and you did not enjoy it, I'd be like, I get it. But I'm having a great time playing it. And so are some of the people I've showed it to. So there you go. 3 chapters. You have to check it out for yourself, but it's a small little game from Amigo. And yeah, the 3 bears. Are 3 bears even in it? Yeah, they are. The 3 bears are in it. They're 1 card. Anyway, that's 3 chapters. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Mike Delisio.
See y'all next time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.